All right, we're in the in-between now. Cursing doesn't matter.
Well,
Not
cursing doesn't matter anymore.
Cursing matter anymore. I know. It's an old habit.
I let Sean intro the thing. And
So, are you happy when stories end, or do you want them to keep going? Watchmen.
I want it to never come back. I want just one season to be over.
I'm done with it. Yeah,
it was perfect.
Yeah.
It was beyond my expectation of what they could do with that.
My favorite show of last year.
Me too.
Easy.
I just again and again that one episode of when a god walks into a bar, I watched that 3 times just
to hear everything they were setting up and also paying off in the beginning and
you
the end.
also look at what Damien Lindelof did in Lost with the whole time flippy floppy
well,
thing.
He was kind of a little shitty with that, but yeah.
No, but what I'm saying is how much he's learned since then.
From that, yeah.
And I think Lost is sometimes unfairly maligned for some of its stuff. They learned so much as they went.
Okay, so obviously I'm going to throw in my favorite, Babylon 5.
Mm-hmm.
You know the ending when you do the beginning. Lost, they did not know the ending when they did the beginning.
They did not.
Or they did not have that ending in mind.
Yes. But as it became a monster that the TV network said, hey, let's keep going. We're going to do this and this. We, no, you
At least
can't
they said no, at least 5 years.
Yeah, they eventually said that they got them in such a corner. But the thing is, for me, when you watch The Leftovers that he did, and then you watch Watchmen, he's by far my favorite showrunner right now. Right, so those two shows alone are like, wow.
So I have not watched The Leftovers. Should
Love
I watch
it.
Okay,
so does it end because it naturally ends?
Yes. So it's based on a book.
Is it HBO?
It is HBO. Okay. It's based on a book that he loved. He got the writer to work with him, and it does expand beyond what the book was. Okay. But they worked together, and he said, I want you to help me, and they knew where they were going. And I personally think its ending is as beautifully satisfying as the ending of Watchmen is.
So
all right, well then I'm going to watch it. It's
it is a very very softly stated show that it is. Do you know the conceit that I think it's 3% of the population disappears all of a sudden?
No, I don't know what it's.
That's what it is, and it's how do you deal with loss?
Okay. So I'm the perfect middle between you. You haven't watched it. You have watched the whole thing.
Uh-huh.
I watched the first season and got a little frustrated with it. Now, I know the conceit of it. The conceit is a portion of the population disappears, and the whole thing is they will never tell you why they disappeared. That's not the point.
About.
That's not the point of the story.
It's fine. I'm Walking Dead. I'm used to these shows now.
Yeah. Right. So the reason, the impetus is not the story. The story is what happens after.
Watchmen doesn't start off. I mean, I tell people that want to, if you guys haven't watched The Watchmen, I'm not going to ruin anything for you. Right. But when customers come in and they say, I've heard this show about Watchmen, should I watch it? Should I see what's going on with it? I said, yes. But I need to tell you, it starts off with a historical incident.
Oh, and again, we talked about that before. It isn't
necessarily about the Watchmen per se.
Right.
No, yeah.
And certainly not in the first few episodes. So don't get frustrated watching, expecting to see Superman and Batman on screen, because that's not what the show's about. And if you're willing to have some patience with it, it will delve into the stuff that you really want to see at some point. But that's why when people say everybody's praising the show, I'm like, all right, but I got to pull you back a little bit.
Right.
Because it may not be what you think it is. So I'm fine with shows that don't necessarily give me
the conceit being not the actual purpose of the story.
If it had been simply, how do I take the characters of the original Alan Moore book and take them to the next step? It wouldn't have worked.
It would have failed, yeah.
But instead, what he wants to do is he wants to tell a story about race relations in our modern era by looking through the lens of this idea. Right. Much like taking how the atomic age and what the original Watchmen looked at through that kind of thing.
And a police state and stuff like that.
There's so many things that Watchmen is about that probably the populace doesn't even think it's about.
I mean, the original Watchmen was about people hiding their face to enforce the law, and now we have the law hiding their face to enforce the law.
So back to your original question. Do I want more of it? Selfishly, yes, because if they could keep it going and somehow make a story that expands upon it, yeah, fuck yeah, they're killing it. Do I want more of it? No, because that's not going to happen. Because eventually, I think HBO's going to taint it. At what point is a story
in your head better than the story they can put?
This is why I want to see. This is why I want to see. Watch The Leftovers on some level, just because I'm now into Lindelof doing these short, tight things.
Yeah,
telling me that it was 3 seasons, it was going to end at 3 seasons, tells me that I want to watch the show. I don't want to watch Lindelof after having watched Lost in an unending thing of they try to spin new stories out of something that is no longer, they've beaten a dead horse and they don't have a conclusion to it. I would rather watch him do 9 episodes, 20 episodes, 3 seasons, 1 season, 3-night special miniseries event of 3-hour, 2-hour shows. I would rather watch that. We've gotten out of doing these short, tight stories that I think we just need to get back.
I'm grabbing my mic so I can always make sure to implement this properly. Babylon 5.
It is
5
great.
seasons.
But I think what Lindelof learned from Lost was, no, you want me to tell a story. These are the type of stories. And now he's showing it with Watchmen. The news came out. He basically said,
no, I'm done. I'm walking away. If somebody else wants to do it, that's their stuff.
Yeah, I've already had this where something I had an idea about, you didn't want me to tell the version of it that really needed to be told.
So applause to HBO for honoring that movie.
Absolutely.
But when you look at some of the stuff we've done in terms of miniseries and movies, Chernobyl, some media like HBO is willing to take a chance on a miniseries event. I like to think of Watchmen as a 8-night miniseries event.
And I'm waiting for another few months for it to completely leave my mind, and I'm going to go back and watch it again.
It, yeah.
I have to re-see that.
I mean, we're coming off of HBO watching Chernobyl, and I knew that wasn't going to have 5 seasons.
Right.
That's going to have to end just based upon the subject matter.
Here's the one thing I want to know about Watchmen. The TV show, not the book. You don't know anything about Watchmen. You sit down, you watch that. Are you confused? Or can you follow it?
One of my customers came in and he said his wife has never read Watchmen and she loves the show.
Yeah, that's pretty much everything I read.
Go back and rewatch it. Because you don't need to. They don't tell you who the characters are.
Oh, no. They don't tell you anything about that. But
I mean,
are you confused about a blue man on Mars that can do anything and then all of a sudden can, is that confusing to you? Does the Rorschach mask make any sense to you?
I think they come back and give you a little bit more as the series goes along. For me, initially, I'm like, if I were watching that now, I'd probably think, oh, this is kind of David Lynchian kind of, what's this weirdness that's happening
especially
around?
Mirror Dude.
Right, what's this weirdness that's going on around you?
I like the fact that Gene Smart was always just like looking at him doing her makeup or whatever, mirror guy, whatever you are.
Particularly when we go into Mirror Dude's origin. And then we have more exposition
later on. His name is
Looking
Looking Glass. Come on.
Then we have more explanation by Yvette later on when they're talking about what happened and what's going on.
And why he does that, yeah.
So
by the way,
the explanation.
Just because you said this, and I'm so afraid I'm going to forget it, because you mentioned Chernobyl. One of the writers of Chernobyl had a podcast with one of the creators, or maybe he was a producer of Chernobyl. It was so well done that HBO came back and said, would you do one with Lindelof for Watchmen? And it's out there.
Yeah, they did 3 episodes.
3 episodes, and they cover 3 hours each.
Episodes.
It is like a masterclass in what he does and how he talks about how the original Watchmen was like his Bible as a kid, that he got it issue by issue, and he's like, I read it hundreds of times and I'd broken it down. If you like those type of things, I'm telling you, go listen to this man. It is well worth that investment of 3 episodes. You listened to it too?
Oh yeah.
I thought the Chernobyl one was good. I thought the Lindelof one was like, holy shit! I am in love with this man. He's great.
I mean, wait till you read your annotated.
I started
Watchmen.
some of it, and I can't get people to leave me alone because I'm sitting there trying to read the annotations, and I'm like, oh god, this goes down the rabbit hole.
Watchmen is one of those books that I can pull out, read again, and find new things every time. The first time, and this is me being a stupid kid back in the 80s and stuff, the first time that I figured out, oh wait, like all the fire plugs are smiley faces and stuff like that. You just see smiley faces all over it as part of the whole symbolism. Like, ow.
Well, as I read the first of it, I realized that I think the only time I've read it was the first time I read it, back in 90 or something like that. So the only thing in my memory were a lot of what Zack Snyder did to it, which I never.
Zack Snyder. We want to talk about that too.
I can never decide with the Watchmen movie. I realize it's not the book, but I never can decide if I like it or if I tolerate it. I don't know what to think. Because it's not awful, but it's not right.
If you had not read the material or you're not familiar with comic books, this is probably a really, really good movie.
The movie is slavish to the comic book. Oh, you heading out? You working out?
All right.
Well, I thought that was at 4. 2, sorry.
And for those of you listening, that is our sweet JJ heading out to take care of her life. Our lovely hostess who always takes care of us the mostest.
Yes, very much so.
She cooked 2 weeks worth of food, and I think we ate 1 day's worth. So we're horrible people.
We'll blame it on Richard. It's all Richard's fault.
So the
protein bar.
The Watchmen movie.
It's in my macros.
The Watchmen movie is a beautiful thing to watch. Zack Snyder
is beautiful. The art direction is stupendous.
Zack Snyder is a gorgeous director. If you took all his slow motion out, all his movies would be about a half hour.
And it's almost like he doesn't understand story structure sometimes and pacing for the story. That's what I find. And I appreciate watching Watchmen, why he felt the need to define the fight that leaves the comedian dead.
The comedian, yeah.
But that's not in the book that way. And what makes it a stronger thing is it's almost a noir thriller when it's in the comic with Rorschach showing up to talk about it and do it. And I think that Zach, he takes away all that element, which kills the tone of it. And that, to me, that's where it goes astray. And I'm like, you didn't understand your source material. You could find ways to show it, but you don't have to be literal. And that's where the slow motion drives me insane, is in that first little bit.
So you brought up Snyder doing new films. Does he have something else coming out? Is that why you brought that up?
No,
we were just talking about Watchmen.
Oh, you made a question over a moment, like, should Snyder have a new
and I did
film?
that earlier. And
lead a new film. I was like, does he have a new one coming out?
I'm going to look that up real quick. Because
I know after the...
I mean, should Joel Schumacher do new films?
Well, not superhero films.
He has a couple of films that aren't bad.
Like White Elephant and shit like that.
The Phone Booth was kind of an interesting thriller. Now, the reason I asked about Zack Snyder, is there a more problematic director that's out there working right now that it seems like every film he does either
keep in mind,
barely makes money or they have to
300 is, again, a fast-forward, slow-down movie. 300, Frank Miller, Zack Snyder did it. Goddamn beautiful men in there. Are you kidding me? But
300.
If you had slowed that, if you take out all the slow motion stuff, that movie again is probably about half an hour.
Yeah,
he's making a movie for Netflix called Army of the Dead.
We're in an era right now.
Following a zombie outbreak in Las Vegas, a group of mercenaries take the ultimate gamble, venturing into the quarantine zone to pull off the greatest heist ever.
So it's a zombie
heist film.
We're in an era where there is not enough production for the audiences to consume streaming wise. Every actor probably has a job right now. Every director has a job right now. If you want one, you can probably find one.
I look at him and to what Sean and I were saying, I do think he has an amazing eye.
He can gorgeously. He is an incredible DP. I don't think he's an incredible director.
It's almost like he is a hybrid art director of photography, and it's almost like when you have a sound designer if you had a picture designer, because you look at when you look at the Batman versus Superman, when it shows those flashes to Bruce,
when it looks like The Dark Knight Rises,
and it is gorgeous the way he's constructed. It is pitch perfect visually. He cannot nail what a story needs to move. Even 300 I think is sluggish in places because of that problem.
Well, that could also be because of Frank Miller, too, because of the original story.
But then if you're going to interpret it, then it's the director's fault, because it's your job to find a way to make that work.
So do you think Justice League, directed by Snyder versus Whedon, which one is a better movie?
I want to see the Zack Snyder version, the one they always talk about.
How different do you think it is? Do you think it's darker?
Darker. Unnecessarily darker.
Oh,
come on, Richard.
Sure it's darker. Yeah.
That's the one. I don't.
They couldn't even between the two scenes that were filmed by Whedon versus the ones that were
you
filmed
can
by
see
Snyder.
where the jokey things are. Batman falling over and going, "Oh, that's gonna hurt tomorrow."
Every single lighting choice is different. They'd be in the same scene.
Yeah.
And you could tell, okay, this scene was actually shot by Whedon,
right.
And this scene cut next to it with the same characters. So I mentioned that earlier in one of the last week, where I joked about, if these were Wonder Woman's boots, we would have seen her ass because of Snyder. I'm pretty sure, I need to watch it again, but I'm pretty sure that scene is the juxtaposition of something Whedon shot versus something Snyder shot, because the perspective and the point of view keeps changing every single time. We're now seeing characters prominent. Everything at the background is brighter, and it cuts to the reverse.
So you think
Wonder
Snyder's
Woman and I think Cyborg or Flash?
So Snyder's
darker, and it's upper skirt, and then it goes back to it feels like that one moment was just back and forth between the two.
So Snyder's darker and less jokey.
I think it's been a while.
I don't know if I can define what he is like that, but I know this about what he did with that Justice League is that I hope he's okay. Sean walked away. All of a sudden, Richard and I are both like, okay,
So cool.
Go potty.
Awesome.
You can't convince